So a sense of welcoming and gathering. This first 15 minutes of these sessions are an acknowledgement that it takes time to settle, giving time to ourselves, giving time to others, giving time to the moment, giving attention in this space, this virtual space, in this now and here, wherever this now and here is, whenever this here and now is. Is this much? The stillness, the silence and the space received, the experience received, and the knowing known, the attention given, the experience tolerated, sensitive to it. The whole of it, the whole sense of being. It's not picking and choosing, it's the whole sense of being internal. The body and the mind and the body. In this whole of space and time. Regrets, remorse, left behind, wonderful memories, allowed to be known, hopes, expectations and fears, anticipations, known now, here, ending now and here. This present experience. Here and now. This knowing known. Connecting with the breath, the body, the whole of this sensitivity, the energy gathered, collected, received experience that is given, life that is given, acknowledged, fully received, the internal experience and the sense in time and space without limit in this gift of attention, reconnecting the experience is lifted and opened. Turning the attention is not a shutting down, not a closing off. It's alive to the well-wishing, the acceptance, to the opportunity that is life. To all of its experience, knowing, known, its ending, my breath. The whole of the universe breathing, this now and this here. The rhythm of the breath in stillness. And sensitivity of life, infinite, and present, eternal, and present. The knowing known. Connection, known. In this knowing, the knowing is a connection. And the well-wishing is reconnected, recollected. And spaciousness and the silence, and the stillness. Alert and still, sensitive, the whole of this experience of life. The body is a connecting senses, receiving, and the response to the gift is a gift. Gift of awareness, gift of knowing. This training of this stillness, this training in life. However it is, right now we can bear this experience, the internal, the external, the sense of inside and outside, sense of knowing and not knowing, and the knowing of this. I do find the sense of the body helpful. Without it, I'll be in trouble. So it's useful to acknowledge it. I do find the sense of well-wishing that life has for life helpful to be in touch with. Connecting with the weight, with the sense of support that this earth offers, and the sense of connection that gravity gives. The senses themselves, the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, the sense of balance, the sense of the body being in the mind, acknowledging that sense, and the sense of connection through the whole of this fathom-long body, they call it, this length, through all the limbs, through all the digits, through the skull, to the feet, to the toes. This, and then the energy of that, the pulsing energy, all the breath, its rhythm, and how the whole of the body, the whole of the universe breathes with an in-breath and an out-breath. It's all there. In this moment of generosity, the given experience, it's given, and the attention that can be, we have the capacity to give. This gift of life to life. And the willingness to just allow that, to tolerate that, to be with that. It takes effort. And the stillness. The habits are to manipulate, feel in some way that I just need to sort this out, sort out what I need to talk about today, figure it out, hold on to something. And It's just attention. And feeling that that's enough. Nothing to prove, nothing to gain, nothing to get rid of. And yet the effort, this is a way of effort. This is an education in directing the energy of life, which humans can do. Humans have the supreme capacity to intend. They're the intention makers. They intend to do things and then they push things through on that. That's the power of humanity. So and yet this is a training. It's a capacity to train this. Because the impulse to do, the impulse to act is, it's a part of life. The basic impulse of life is to act. All life responds to stimulation and acts. From the smallest amoeba to, this is how it's told. I do remember looking at microscopes and seeing little blobs and thinking, well, that's alive. But, I don't really know. But I do know that this thing that I live with here responds to stimulus. And, a lot of that response is just without any freedom, really. It's just a blind sort of, don't like this, don't like this, like this. I don't know quite why this is. And then the complexity of this one, conditioned. And this is the experience of time and space and place and now. And yet humans, this is the way the teaching goes. And this is the assumption that I act upon, can train and can do things can train so that those impulses are skillful and not unskillful. And there's judgments about what's skillful and what's unskillful, and that depends on time and place. But the basic one is that with generosity, there will be wholesome results. And that the training that rushes headlong and is just blind and driven by liking and disliking and confused by the sense that freedom is following my likes and avoiding my dislikes. That confusion. Not really understanding whether likes and dislikes are conditioned or not. And the not harming as a volition, as a direction, and then noticing the habits that are blind, that are harming. or any impulse to harm, and recognizing that's not a volition that's actually skillful. And then there can be all sorts of ways of my capacity to justify my actions I really can justify just about anything, even justifying the fact that I can justify anything. I don't trust that. It's the sense of the damage that comes through intentionally harming and not knowing what harming is. Self-harming is indulgence. Indulgence is getting lost in trying to squeeze pleasure out of the senses. So if there's something that one feels that this is lovely, then squeezing it or moving just towards it and trying to get the most out of it. Like with that sort of movement towards indulgence, there's a shutting down of anything that interferes with that. And then ultimately a sense of being stated with it. So it's this thing of being alive through indulgence just creates more stress. It's not understanding that indulgence is a cause of stress. Because harming itself usually, we can usually figure that just makes more stress for ourselves and others. We don't usually see indulgence as a stressful thing or a cause of more stress. And this is an assumption that we can practice, is that these impulses can be trained, and there are ways of training that will allow life to really live and complete and be free from compulsion and habit. And they're not hating, training the sense of not hating, the sense of not that sense of I really can't stand that. It makes us so weak. And it makes us then, there's all sorts of hassles. For some of us, it turns us allergic to a stimulation. We just have something we don't like, or somebody we don't like, or something we don't like. We just have to hear about it, and it immediately causes a reaction of, oh, I don't like that. A disproportionate response to a stimulation is an allergy. And we get allergic to things that we hate quite easily. And we go overboard with things that we really think we like. That's an addiction. Addiction and an allergy. Addiction and allergy is extreme responses to stimulation. And this is a lack of freedom, isn't it? Lack of freedom. If true liberation is something that we assume is possible, and there are ways that we can train, And if we have that confidence and we notice and practice in accordance with that confidence and gain more skill in this, then a human life is worthwhile, because this is a way of training. This life is an opportunity to train. Because it's a very strange thing, this sense of being caught in time and space. And this body, which we don't know how long this will be around. We do see that it's declining. We can make a fair assumption that it will end sometime. And we can contemplate that. If this is our last breath, what legacy will we leave? If this is our last meal, will we feel betrayed? Will we feel we've betrayed ourselves? No? Because we don't know. And we have this idea of rebirth. And this is an idea. Ideas, conventions, tools, ways of conveying something that we never quite know whether what we send out as an idea, how it's going to be received. We never really know whether what we receive in ideas is actually how they're intended. But this is the reflection that I have on the idea of rebirth, is that what is it that gets reborn is ignorance. Ignorance is reborn. It finds something. The energy of not understanding is reborn. And the idea of rebirth that works for me is that this life is difficult and confusing enough. If I can get this one at least a little bit, not make such a mess of it as I might have done in the past, then this will be okay. But really, ideally, I would try to make sure that this is the last one. Because rebirth is so difficult. It's just not sure. And if the other idea is there's no rebirth, and if this is an encouragement to really, really make sure that this rebirth goes to heaven, then well and good, go for it. But if this idea of there's no rebirth leads to the idea of, well, it doesn't matter what I do, there's nothing else at the end of it, it's just going to all die down, it doesn't anything, then that's not a skillful use of the tool, it's a way of damaging oneself. If the idea of rebirth is, it doesn't matter what I do this time, I'll sort it out next time, that's a bad idea of rebirth. Bad use of the idea of rebirth is damaging too. How you use the tools are important, it's not the tool itself. And rebirth is an idea, it's a tool. It's taken for granted in the Buddha's teaching. And I have no reason to worry about it. To me, when I first heard about it, and of course I wasn't brought up with the idea of rebirth, with this sort of body, this sort of culture, this sort of accent, It's not usually this sort of accent, this sort of body, this sort of upbringing comes with an assumption of rebirth. No, the assumption was there's one life, there's only one innings, and you might as well get it right, and the only way to get there is through this belief. But when I first heard of rebirth, I thought, what's the problem? Of course. Because this energy of this lifetime, when the body breaks up, we're just going to find something else. Because certainly, whilst there is this body, there have been so many rebirths. Is this the same being as was held in my mother's arms? Is this the same being that went to school at the age of 5? Is this the same being that was an adolescent and had all that confusion? Is this the same being as went to university? Is this the same being as joined the monastic community? Is this the same being that woke up this morning? Every moment, every breath is a rebirth of sorts. There's a death and a rebirth. There's a shift. There's a change. Every change is every noticing of change is a rebirth. If this is what time and space, assumes. Now, if you don't have the assumption there's time and space, then fine. Because time and space is actually something that we are assuming. So, no, it's so I don't know the whole thing. I'm not sure that within time and space, an adequate model can be built. The ideas that we have about who we are, where we exist, how we exist, these are models. They're not absolute truths. Of course, they're helpful. I think sometimes people say, well, there is no self, so nothing gets reborn. So it's ignorance. Ignorance attaches through the addiction of becoming. Even the becoming that is trying to get rid of. The becoming that is, I don't want this. The becoming of, I want to do this in some time in the future, is ignorance, striving for a rebirth. This is ignorance. Because, if you want to know why beings die, it's because they are born. If you want to know why beings get old, get sick, it's because they were born. It's not to get rid of old age, sickness, and death, it's to understand it. This is part of the causes and conditions that are around this idea of time and space, which are causes and conditions. There are causes and conditions for something will be there. When the causes and conditions for something are not there, the thing will not be there. But liberation is possible. There is an unborn, unoriginated, uncreated, and unformed. Where earth, water, fire, air, space, consciousness, no thingness. Sun, moon, where there's no coming, no going, no standing still, no increase, no decrease. If that wasn't there, there would be no liberation would not be possible. Because if this was really all there is, if this experience, or this trap, or this sense of self was all there is, it's to understand this sense of self is the responsibility. This is what we have to work with. This is where the training has to be done. And then, when the body breaks up, because the body will break up, what's going to happen? What happens to the enlightened beings when the body breaks up? I mean, the Buddha was really clear that he did not give an answer to that. It's not that the body gets enlightened. It's not that the personality gets enlightened. It's not that I get enlightened. It's that I stop taking this whole thing in terms of what I can get out of it, what I can get rid of, or what I can become. That sense of, I want this, I don't want that, I want to become this. That's ignorance and driving. More stress for oneself and others. Okay, then we say, well, there's no aspiration for enlightenment. There's nothing I need to do. Well, what effort do I need to do? Notice what is unskillful, what does lead to more harm, what is indulgence, what is hatred. And practice non-indulgence, non-harming, and non-hatred. Hatred is the sense of I can't stand this. It's not noticing what's wrong. Hatred is not. He's not saying don't notice what's wrong. When you recognize that noticing what's wrong comes also from a sense of well-wishing, can come from a sense of well-wishing. And then there's the compassion to do something which requires wisdom so that there's less suffering now and in the future. Do practice wisdom and compassion, or the Eightfold Path, or however you want to put it. Because that's what we can do. That's what humans can do. They can train. They can be world-class athletes of wisdom and compassion, or whatever you want to say. But it's not a becoming. It's a moment by moment experience, the best we can. And this is a strange, recorded, transmitted time and space experience, which is uncomprehensible at one level for me, how this whole thing works. I mean, even the basic thing of talking to somebody, that's weird enough. So talking through these cameras and microphones and computers and internets, ooh, I don't understand what's happening. And I don't, when I just try to practice not ignoring the fact that there is stress, it is to be understood. There's a cause, it is to be abandoned. There's a path that is to be practiced. There's a way that is to be practiced. And there's a cessation of all confusion, all becoming is to be realized and made real. So maybe this little is enough for now. And if there are questions, if you can type them in, I might receive them through this magic, whatever it is. Thank you. If personal experience has an aspect of anatta, who is delusion and who gets enlightened? Who is it gets? Who is illusion? And illusion, ignorance is, and nobody gets enlightened. It's a strange one, isn't it? It's a strange one. It's how one uses the words and how one picks up the concepts. How one uses the ideas. How one responds to stimulation, how the stimulation is responding to, does it encourage? And there's a certain freedom in that, and I don't really know. I know that if I feel that I am enlightened, then that's going to be more stressful. I feel I have something to prove. If I feel I'm not enlightened and I don't need to be enlightened, that also is something that's deeply confusing. It's what's the best that can be done now, and an aspiration to do the best I can. And even that aspiration, I'm not really sure about it. Just do the best I can within that. Get upset with things that are not going my way, and then other people make mistakes. Well, why can't they? Why can't they be more wise? Why can't they make my life less suffering? That when the politicians act in the way that they might do, or the companies act in the way they might do, or that person whom I like very much acts in the way that I don't want them to act. And the stresses that come with that. And I'm thinking, well, I shouldn't, because I should be an enlightened monk. It makes it even more stressful. So, being anything is stressful. Becoming anything is making more stress. Doing the best we can, giving what we can, but in the meditation, just connecting with a whole sense of being. Is the mind in the body, or the body in the mind? Is the experience of being here unlimited? My time and space is the capacity to be sensitive, unlimited. Boundless. Somebody says if you want to know where you're going to get reborn, notice what you're paying attention to now. Notice what you're investing in now. If you want to know where you have come from, know where you are now. A sense of being praised, blamed, criticized, getting, gaining, all of this. Todo? Are there any more questions? I do apologize for any confusions, and I'm not going, we've had a debate about how to go Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. If you can keep training using the 5 precepts, you can be pretty sure that your rebirth won't be too bad. If you can not take the sense of I am somebody, I need to do something and I'm not sure if it's the right thing or not, you can take that not too seriously, then that's pretty cool. And if you're not bound up with they should be doing this, or he should be doing that, or she should be doing that, and I want this, I don't want that, then you're pretty cool. If you're happy to eat wherever you put in front of you and take care of that, careful about what you consume, be able to transform whatever situation you're in into a blessing, then your life will continue to bring blessings, which are things that encourage people to do things that are good and skillful that they didn't think they would do. Curses, I feel, are when it will curse myself when I do things that stop me doing from something good and beautiful, which I think I could do. I curse myself. It's not just swearing at myself, which I might do sometimes under my breath. I don't usually swear out loud anymore. But the cursing is when I stop myself from doing something good and beautiful, which I could do. Okay, maybe